20.
Keaton Gibbs, and he actually is going to Georgia Tech to play baseball, Marcus, but still out here working, playing hard for Coach Alan Whitehart's Wolves here as he played last year as well. Very talented family. Actually grew up with his brother Kane. Had the opportunity, saw his dad at the local gym the other day. Man, they're a basketball family. Just happens to be he's pretty good at that thing out there on the diamond.
Always nice to be able to have multiple options. We see Walton with the ball now, driving baseline, good to go. It's number 21 for Walton.
I really like Nick Wells, his game, what he brings. You know, has already shown us here in the first 3 minutes of gameplay. A couple of finishes around the rim. Also hit a nice, smooth right-handed jumper. Looked like he was just on the line, right at 19 feet. Definitely a guy for us to follow, and I think he's going to be the key of Walton's offense. Marcus, we had a little segment a minute ago where you could hear the Walton bench calling out, "Dog Nick, Dog Nick." They were trying to get some special set to get Wells rolling and get him the basketball. I don't know if they ever got into what they wanted, but it's been very evident here early that he is a focal point of this Walton offense, and for good reason.
Most definitely have heard a lot about Wells. Wells, a member of that Douglas Brothers elite team, teammates with Tracy Hector and Austin Donaldson, also of Douglas Brothers elite. And anybody that's seen that team play, Brandon, there's something you can assume about the edginess or how tough a player plays if he's associated with that program.
No question, man. And we'll talk a lot about the spring-summer circuit here in these 3 games. A lot of these guys, familiar faces for us. Wells is a young man that really showed his wares during the spring-summer and has come out here aggressively tonight, not losing any of that edge that he had this summer with Douglas Brothers Elite.
This is still a 6-2 ball game in favor of Walton.
Well, and I really like what Air Force gets in Wells. You know, assume that he's able to come in that first year and be able to be on the floor right away. You know, a lot of the young men that, you know, go to the service academies, wind up having to go to the prep school there for a year for whatever reason. Hopefully Wells will not be in that boat. He's a really, really sharp guy offensively. You see him running the floor here in transition. He's just going to bring a lot to that school. Tough finish, everything but the bottom of the net there, but those are the types of plays that attracted Air Force and schools across the country to Wells' game.
Still 6-2, ball going to go back over to Walton.
Well, and I like switching over to Buford for a minute. I definitely want to keep an eye on number 3, you know, Hansborough. He's a transfer in from Centennial this year, senior guard. Obviously, you know, a little depletion both through graduation. Oh, nice little contest there. Both through graduation and then from transfers, but they come right back, as you see, right on cue. Hansborough attack, get the offensive rebound, put himself in a position to make a play. Once again, everything but the bottom of the net. But Trey Hansborough is a guy that already is making his presence felt on this game, Marcus.
A strong rebound there on the other end by Wells there. The mid-range jumper off the mark. It's going to be rebounded there by Buford. Three-pointer from the corner. That's no good.
Well, I like that rebound there from Neal, you know, at Buford, man. That's a guy that we definitely want to keep an eye on there, playing the point guard spot, taking over from Matt McMorris, who now is at a prep school up in the Northeast, graduated last year. Brought a lot of good things to Whitehart's team, just a steady hand at the point guard position. Be interesting to see if Neal's able to bring those same things, especially in marquee games like this one. Ball out of bounds there off of Buford. Walton basketball. Interesting start here to the season. Definitely early season basketball, you know, in terms of the conversion rate per possession. Team's getting some good looks. As you see the nice jumper there for number 10 there from Walton. That's Jeremiah Bibbins. That's a big shot. If they can get some early production from people outside of Wells, it's only going to free Wells up for quality shot attempts later on in the game, Marcus.
So we've got an 8-2 ball game here in the first quarter.
That's a great high-low situation there. Gibson with the nice interior pass. Definitely like Galloway's game. Legitimate length, legitimate size. Once again, another one of the pieces that Buford lost from last year. Tyler Scott, who now is at Gainesville, and then DeMarcus Simons, the guard, who both moved to Gainesville. But they replaced them with Hansborough and with Galloway. So not a bad trade-off if you're Alan Whitehart. You know, in the bigger scheme of life, you'd probably love to have everybody, but you know, to be able to replace 2 for 2 and not 2 for 0, you're still living pretty good there in Buford.
Yeah, not bad at all. Definitely the lesser of two evils. Always a good position to be in. And then when you look at a guy like Coach Whitehart, you know, the record that he has, even from Centennial coming into Buford overall, he's definitely a coach that's equipped to handle the curveball.
No question. I was talking with the assistant Julian Barfield before the game, and that was one of the things that Julian was talking about. I've known him for years, dating back to the Centennial days, actually. And they were mentioning, as you see Hansborough with another play, he just talked about every time that Hansborough gets an opportunity in the half court or the full court, they've worked on him finishing with dunks. And you saw him there take off with every intention to dunk, be able to take the hit and still finish it.
He's going to get a trip to the free throw line. Yeah, Brandon, that focal point definitely being brought over to the game as he was looking for the above the rim there.
Oh, he was going to try to make a play, man. If he hadn't taken that whack on the head, he was going to the rim with reckless abandon, which is exactly what Whitehart and his staff are going to need him to do throughout the course of the season. You know, also got to mention they lost Rakeem Lubin, who I just watched play on TV the other night for UConn against Charleston. You know, so, I mean, they lost a lot of pieces. You know, I would estimate about 80 to 85% of their scoring from the 2013 to 14 season. So very new-look Buford Wolves team here, not to mention the guys who are still playing football.
As this Walton team, you know, this event hosted here at North Gwinnett, a school that knows a thing or two about football, and it's always interesting being able to see the teams pre and post football. You know, when you think of a Norcross, another one of those programs to where as solid as they are before football season ends, you know you can expect some healthy contributions coming in from the gridiron.
No question, a guy like Lorenzo Carter. North Gwinnett's in a rare position this year, having lost last week to Central Gwinnett. It's very rare that you see them with their football guys already back, but that will be the case. They had 20 guys on the roster. Pulled their roster up earlier in the week to get ready for this thing. Zach Smith had 20 guys, not knowing exactly what was going to go on there, but they got it figured out. Hansborough, in the meantime, hits a 3 from the wing and really is just showing out here. Oh, my goodness, what a performance from young Trey Hansborough in the first quarter in his debut for the Buford Wolves.
He's going to work. We talked about them focusing on finishing above the rim. That one's below the rim, but through the contact. And one for Hansborough.
Well, he's doing it in various ways. You know, you've talked about the free throws that he hit a minute ago, finished at the rim with the hit, finishes on the right side of the rim instead of the left side this time, hits a three-pointer in the middle. So he's done a lot of good things here to get this game started. You can see why Julian Barfield emphasized a couple different times during our conversation before the game, hey, man, we got this kid, you know, and sure enough, he's doing everything that they talked about they've been working on.
So we got a timeout. We'll take one with them. When we get back, we'll bring you more from the Jared Cook Classic. And we are back to the action. We resume play, 8-10 ball game as the first quarter is about to come to a close.
It'll be interesting to see here if Walton can get back to what they were doing early, which was putting themselves in a position where they were getting Wells the ball in places to score. You know, he had the first 6 points for them, hasn't taken a shot since he made that or missed that reverse layup there about 3 minutes ago. They get him the ball here on the inbounds.
Looks like we're going to have a foul there on the floor.
Well, anytime you can get the ball to your primary scorer like that, Marcus, it just makes the game easier. It makes the game easier for everybody involved, not having to work so hard, and puts Wells in a position to be successful as well. So it's a win-win for everybody on the floor, except Buford.
Wells with it now. He'll hand it off. Here's McKee. We'll see if there's going to be a hold for last shot situation or take the best one that becomes available. Wells sees one he likes, top of the key. That one's short. Not sure if Hansborough got a hand on it.
Well, that's a tough contested shot there. And even if he liked it, it was very much contested. I don't know if those are going to want on the other end. That's exactly the kind of shot Coach Whitehart's going to want, and that's Trey Hansborough on the wing.
Hansborough makes it 13-8. Good start for Hansborough. Wide open three-pointer. That's a good look for the Raiders. It's off the mark, though. 4 seconds to work with for Buford. Can they get a shot off? No, they will not. So that's going to do it for the first quarter. Appreciate you joining us here for the Jared Cook Classic. When we get back, we'll bring you the second quarter of action.
Crossover intelligence for basketball can save you hours of time. We break down and stat your game film for you and act as your video coordinator by giving you searchable clips, advanced statistics, shot charts, and a lot of other great info that you can access from any PC or through our iPad application. Just upload your video through the Crossover website, and 24 hours later, your film will be completely indexed and tagged. Each play will become its own video clip, allowing you to search the footage for anything you'd like. Here we'll take a look at all three-pointers that were made in the fourth quarter. All of your offensive and defensive sets can also be tagged, so you can view the appropriate clips and determine which plays are achieving the best results. You can add any clip to a playlist or highlight reel and share everything with your players or assistant coaches. Crossover will also provide you with all of the numbers from each game, including complete player stats for both teams and advanced metrics like these. We even take the shooting numbers a step further with an interactive shot chart that lets you visualize the data. Filter by player, quarter, makes or misses, and click on any shot to watch.
It's a nice basket there from Richardson. Showing himself as a potential second scorer alongside Wells, which is definitely something Walton's going to need over the course, not only of this game, but when you start to look at the season for them, they're going to need somebody to be able to step in and be able to play the role of that second scorer. Richardson showing that's a possibility. Hansborough back to the line, calmly knocks down the free throw. Gives Buford a 16-10 lead here. Oh, tough pull up there by Wells. Hand down, man down on Gibson. Nice shot there. Hansborough patient, waits for the screen. The drive had the nice post there at about the 14-foot mark. We're going to get a foul here on the floor instead.
Checking into game for the Raiders, Wanye Colon, Jeremiah Bivens, and Josh McGrath.
Hansborough misses the free throw there, what would have been the front end of a 1-and-1, Walton basketball. In this same gym years ago, Coach Ralph Dunn used to always talk about missing the front end of a one-on-one being equivalent to a turnover, and then counting it as such in the stat column. Now, that's definitely something from Hansborough's perspective and Buford as well. They've got to make sure that they take full advantage of being in the bonus this early. Just under 7 minutes here to go in the second quarter. Got to be able to capitalize on those front ends and the back end as well, try to stretch his lead. When we talked about Simons and Scott earlier now being at Gainesville, both of them here on hand for the game, sitting front and center watching their former team play.
Back into the game for the Bulls, number 5, Taylor Mills.
Walton, nice double high screen set there. Looking for the three, don't get it, but get the hand check call there on Buford. And that's going to be on Mills. That's 3 already on Mills before they could get him out for the second when he picks up a third.
Never want to get that third foul this early in the first half.
Nah, that's a seatbelt there, man. He's going to get a chance to sit over there with the coaching staff and get to hear their thoughts for about 6 minutes. It's a good move there by McGrath. I talked about Richardson trying to emerge as a second scorer. That's another guy here with McGrath alongside Wells, who should be the beneficiary of his play when Wells plays like this, stretches the defense, and it's going to be up to him to be able to capitalize when he gets touches on the interior.
Hansborough has it for Buford. I'll get it over to number 4. That's Neal. Coming to Raiders the other way, 15-16 ball game.
Good defense there.
Wells has it knocked away.
When you like that, Neal gets his hand in the mix. Whitehart just got on to him about leading the team. And there it is. That's a great charge call there. McGrath able to get his body in the path of Hansborough. That's got to be a pull-up there at the 6 to 8 foot mark for the youngster.
It's always interesting watching players as they get a good feel for that happy medium between, trying to get to the rack, but then also over-penetrating.
Well, he's done a good job the first couple of trips that he's had opportunities to get to the rim. There hasn't been anybody in the way, or they've been on the side of him, man, shoulder to shoulder. He's got to feel that McGrath is set there ready to take it. And now on the closeout, he goes from having 0 fouls to 2 fouls on the same offensive defensive possession here. Fouls the shooter, then gets him the 3, and he gets to go to the line for them.
That's Wanye Cologne.
Well, Cologne's been a steady hand. Was able to come out just a sophomore, but has given them good minutes here. Started the game for him and just put himself in a good position. I like that move there from Galloway.
It's going to make it an 18-19 ball game. Nearly a steal there.
Galloway reminds me in build kind of his ranginess of EBA All-American Anthony Haskins from over there at Central Gwinnett here early in this viewing of him. Really like what he's bringing to the table. That was a veteran move right there.
Kick it out. Open along the elbow. Nice looking shot there. That's number 30, Josh McGrath.
McGrath again. When we talked about Wells being able to shoot the outside jumper and obviously the versatility that creates, McGrath able to do the same thing here now. That's 2 options that you've got, both of whom are interior based who can step out. That makes it a hard matchup as you see actually Gainesville head coach Benji Wood here in the house getting an early scout in on Buford.
21-18 ball game. Just over 4 minutes left to play here in the first quarter. And I have a foul there.
That's a gutsy play there by Hansborough. Already with 2, to get into that mix, to get into that scrum, one of those plays that can go either way, 50-50 balls, you might say. He was able to come away with it. Now he's taking a trip back to the line.
Hansborough is a player that, a lot would rate as a sleeper. Many people don't know what he brings to the table, but, give us the best nutshell summary you can for somebody that may not know who Trey Hansborough is, but should know.
Score, slasher, to shoot it, good range. I know the Citadel's been in there. Andre Morgan, Rob Burke, those guys are doing an excellent job over there, just pounding the pavement, turning over rocks. There have been some other schools that have been in, but, this is going to be one of those situations where as he starts to get game film, the quality game film that we provide here with SUVtv, the write-ups that will be on PeachStateBasketball.com, some of those things about Hansborough, even getting into the spring, you're going to see more and more schools get on the train here, and for good reason.
Got a 5-second violation caught there. Cologne thought he had gotten rid of it in time. I kind of share that opinion, but the opinion that matters, rules of the 5-second violation, so it'll go back over to Buford.
Hey, sometimes it's a 4.1, man. I think they got him with the 4.1 there, man. Oh, what a great pass.
Big fella unable to convert it inside.
And that's Sahil Patel. I actually had the opportunity to watch him at the John Lucas event up there in Louisville, Kentucky. And one of the things is you watch his game continue to round out, just a sophomore. Still a lot of room for growth. Definitely not a complete project yet, as you could tell by that play. But he's starting to do some things activity-wise that he wasn't doing this time last year. He was on the junior varsity, Marcus. I had the opportunity to go in, watch Rakeem Lubin. We talked about now playing with UConn, and was watching practice, and you could see some of these things, but his body just hadn't started to catch up with what he was seeing, and you're seeing him do a better job of that, and I suspect that by the time we get to March here, from the March to Macon, you'll see him do an even better job then.
Cologne actually had 35 points in the loss to Griffin earlier this season, 7 of 13 from the three-point track.
He could flat out shoot it. You could tell early on, his ability, even though both of those roll around. You see him kind of looking like, yo, really? But his ability to make that three and just the confidence that he's got out there lets you know that he's feeling pretty good. Tough start to the year so far for Walton in that regard, Marcus, record-wise, but definitely a team that's playing well, and the best basketball still way away.
It's always funny, talking with coaches at this time of the year because, we still got plenty of season left. It's still very early, so any optimism that you have or anything of that nature, coach doesn't want to hear that. Coach is thinking, hey, we're young, hey, it's going to be a long season, whatever the case may be. It's always better to sandbag a little bit.
Hey, a story of my life, man. I can understand that, man. How's the event looking this weekend? Clay, it's going to be okay.
500 teams. Third facility.
Good problems to have. Great play there by Gibson. This is going to be a glue kid, one that you got to keep an eye on this year. If you're scouting against Buford, that's going to be one of those guys you see him try to crash the offensive glass. He plays with such energy and pace that he allows their other guys to do what they do. Oh, nice play there by McGrath. And I think the same thing with him on the other side. Talk about Gibson for Buford, Marcus, but you talk about McGrath for Walton. And those are two X-factor guys that they might not lead the team in scoring. They might not lead them in rebounds, but you best believe they're going to have points and numbers in all of those categories night in and night out, all while maintaining a high field goal percentage.
You've got McGrath at the charity stripe. Splashes the free throw, 19 to 25.
What's amazing how quickly the vibe of this game turned. It looked like Buford, after that Hansborough spurt there right at the end of the first quarter, had really taken control of the momentum of the game. Obviously still early, but the momentum had shifted Buford's way. And Walton, between the play of McGrath and McGrath being able to make a couple of buckets and find it, Cologne being able to hit that three where he got the AM1. They've had some other guys outside of Wells step up and contribute, and Buford has struggled outside of Hansborough to find that second guy.
It's just a 6-point advantage for Walton. Big part of that, the fact you just stated, Hansborough doing his part. Rest of the Wolfpack on the way.
Well, so many guys playing new roles. Even the guys who were here last year. This is a team that is a completely different team. There's not anybody in the same role that they were in last year. Even a guy like Gibson, who was on the roster last year, is playing a different role than he played last year. And that's tough, especially early in the year. Walton's had 3 games under their belt, and they're starting to look like they've played 3 games. Buford has played 1 game, and it's starting to look like this is their first game. So.
But his zone being played by Walton. Finding a crease in it, but unable to knock down that shot there. That was Lamont Smith.
Well, Lamont Smith's the guy that Whitehart and his staff have raved about. Just a freshman, so still plenty of time for him to grow and develop here in his first varsity game. There's Hansborough. We talked about that, dunking on every attempt, and there's a great example of that. Julian Barfield trying to make him get up on every single attempt as he works to become even better and more explosive off of the ground.
As we see him take the cookies there, get the layup on the other end.
That was a clean steal, wasn't it?
That's something you Probably would imagine happens that often to Cologne.
No, it's just evident by that double crossover he just hit him with to get himself back open. Oh, great move.
To the rack there, that's Richardson.
Well, we talked about Richardson emerging as that second scorer. McGrath kind of stepped up, and if they can get McGrath and or Richardson to have the kind of nights that they're having so far on a nightly basis, and then Cologne kind of fill in the gaps, they're putting themselves in a really good position. That was a mean little Euro step there from Richardson with the nice finish at the end.
We appreciate you joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, I've seen some of the issues with the image. We're going to make sure we get that taken care of at halftime. As our final 10 seconds wind down, we'll see what Cologne and them can do. They'll have 7.2 seconds to work with.
This is an interesting situation right now. Remember, Hansborough's got 2 fouls. You've got 7.2 seconds left on the clock. Now it looks like they caught him on the line, so it's still going to be Walton ball. This is an interesting situation. You do not want Hansborough to get this third foul, but there's no sub coming.
Walton inbound, and Hansborough right there on it.
That's about as well as you can defend that right there. Kudos to Hansborough for not drawing that third foul in an ISO one-on-one situation with 17 seconds on the clock.
That is going to send us to halftime. We appreciate you joining us here on SUVtv. We'll be back with the second half shortly.
Crossover intelligence for basketball can save you hours of time. We break down and stat your game film for you and act as your video coordinator by giving you searchable clips, advanced statistics, shot charts, and a lot of other great info that you can access from any PC or through our iPad application. Just upload your video through the Crossover website, and 24 hours later, your film will be completely indexed and tagged. Each play will become its own video clip, allowing you to search the footage for anything you'd like. Here we'll take a look at all 3-pointers that were made in the fourth quarter. All of your offensive and defensive sets can also be tagged, so you can view the appropriate clips and determine which plays are achieving the best results. You can add any clip to a playlist or highlight reel and share everything with your players or assistant coaches. Crossover will also provide you with all of the numbers from each game, including complete player stats for both teams and advanced metrics like these. We even take the shooting numbers a step further with an interactive shot chart that lets you visualize the data. Filter by player, quarter, makes or misses, and click on any shot to watch the corresponding video. Crossover intelligence will keep you from spending hours in the film room and get you back to actually coaching. Together, we can turn smarter video into more wins for your team.
And we are back here at the Jared Cook Classic. I am Jonathan Hemingway, stepping in here on the mic for Marcus Burnett, joined here by Brandon Clay for the second half of this Buford versus Walton High School game. Early season action. Brandon, give us your takeaways from the first half.
Well, first of all, man, I feel like I'm on the mic with Mariano Rivera, man. The relief pitcher of the century in there. Need the righty, tap it, get the righty, man. Now, I really like when Walton, as Richardson hits that jumper, number 15. They've done some really good things, and I talked about in the first half them looking like a team that has played multiple games already, and I think that held true even on that first possession there. They've been getting good shots. They've been getting diverse flow in terms of where the buckets have been coming from, whether it's Wells, whether it's McGrath, whether it's Richardson, even Cologne. They've gotten points from a lot of different areas where Buford really has been summed up by the play of Trey Hansborough. You know, it's been Trey Hansborough, and if it hasn't been Trey Hansborough, they haven't scored it. And on cue, here's Trey Hansborough.
As you say, that's Trey Hansborough in traffic, the 6'4" senior going coast to coast here. We got a 30 Walton in blue bringing it across. Buford going here, sticking with the man-to-man defense.
Yeah, it's scary to think about, John, what Hansborough and DeMarcus Simons could have been together. You know, obviously hindsight being what it is here. Simons has gone to Gainesville, just committed to Mississippi State, the number 58 player in the BrandonClayScouting.com Elite 60. Here on hand, ironically, about 20 feet across the court from us, man. But, you know, you watch Hansborough's game, and it's easy to see. We talked about this in the early stages of the game as he makes that great kick out there. He's going to draw so much pressure to his game as he's making those shots. There were 3 guys in blue around him there, leaving a wide open shot for Will Springer. So you're going to want to see whether it's Springer, whether it's Devin Neal, Taylor Mills, those guys are going to have to be shot makers when the ball gets kicked out in the second half of games like this. Once teams have gone back into halftime, made that adjustment for Hansborough.
Charge taken there by Buford. Wells, a little bit too aggressive there on the drive in transition. Coming back the other direction, Buford with their zone offense. Good hands right there by Walton. Coming back the other direction. This is number 15, Demetrius Richardson. He's going to draw the foul, go to the line, and shoot two.
I'll tell you what, he's just one of those guys, Richardson that is, who always seems to be involved in the play. You know, every time you look up, obviously here to start the second half, but even in the first half, you look up and he's there. And then you look up and McGrath is there. They've just gotten some really good production from those two guys. And it's easy to see why here early in the season, despite the record, that if you're Coach Gorbeth, you've got to be excited about what your guys are bringing to the table here.
Without a doubt, playing that 2-3 zone, but a very active 2-3. You saw it just a moment ago, getting those hands up, creating the deflection. And one of the things, especially in the early season, that you want to do is you want to get out and run and create those easy buckets. And Richardson connects on the second of the two free throws. We got a 32-23 lead here for Walton. Buford back the other direction, swinging the ball around, gets a pull-up jumper right here off the mark. Offensive rebound, going to be deflected away. Buford's going to control.
Well, those are exactly the type of shots that we talked about, you know. Everything created there from Hansborough at the free throw line. Somebody has got to find a way to knock something down. You know, that's not necessarily what you're looking at Gibson for. You know, you're really looking at those three guys around the perimeter. We talked about, you know, Springer, Mills, and Neal. Those guys have got to be able to knock those shots down, whether it's the mid-range pull-up they just got, whether it's the three out of the corner. If they're going to move the ball like that and people are going to concentrate in on Hansborough inside of that zone, they're going to have to be able to make shots.
Good rebound there by Will Springer of Buford. Going to draw the foul. Walton's sticking in here with this 2-3. Buford's had some good offensive possessions. The ball's touched the lane, the free throw line area. Coach Whitehart obviously, you know, talked about that here at halftime. But one of the things, you know, from a coaching standpoint that you always talk about, if you want to cut into these leads, you got to get defensive stops, and then, you know, the momentum will begin to shift right here. But right now they haven't been able to get anything going offensively, but they have got a couple of defensive stops, you know, with the charge taken and, you know, with the rebound. So let's see what progresses from there.
Well, and it's amazing what happens if you can get, you know, a couple of easy baskets. And here's a play right here, Gibson, the nice pass ahead. But if you can get a couple of easy buckets, it changes the whole complexion of the game. It allows you to press. It just allows you to do some different things. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to convert these chip shots there. You know, even with that one, it looked like Mills had something on the right side. He takes it to the left side, right into the defender, makes it a tough shot for himself.
Yeah, those are the ones that'll make you pull your hair out. If you're a coach, you make the great hustle play. You've got to be able to convert that. They do still maintain possession of the basketball here. Baseline out of bounds. Good look from the corner, and Springer just can't get it to go. Walton will control the defensive rebound.
It was great. Coach Whitehart's face, the shot rolls off, and he just drops his head like, yo, what else can we do on that, you know? And then on the other end, over the outstretched Springer, you know, Walton's able to drop in a teardrop that's 3 times as hard as the wide-open shot Springer had. It's just been a tough go of it for Buford. And note here, Hansborough with that charge call is going to pick up his 3rd foul.
Yeah, that's a big foul call right there. That was Jason McKee on the other end, number 2 there in blue for Walton. The nice little teardrop, as you mentioned before, just a freshman coming in here playing on the big stage here at the Jerry Cook Classic.
Well, taking shots like that, not scared at all. And you can see Walton not scared to play their underclass guys at the guard spot, whether it be Cologne, great finish in there, McGrath with the body on him, whether it be, you know, Cologne or then coming back with a guy like McKee, more than willing to play guys if they're good enough and ready, even if they're young.
That's Wells right there with the rebound. He's going to control, pushes it the other direction.
Oh, great block there by Springer.
Ball on the floor, tussle. Buford's going to come away with it. Coming back the other direction. This is Hansborough going to give it up. Layup good there by number 5, Devin Neal.
That was a great read there. The nice little hesitation. Look for just a second as Hansborough was going to take that 3. Takes one more hard bounce, draws the defender. The nice little kick there across the lane for the lay.
We've got a timeout here. 3:08 left in the third quarter. Walton High School up on Buford, 36-25. We'll take a quick break here with you. Be right back on the SUVtv.
Crossover intelligence for basketball can save you hours of time. We break down and stat your game film for you and act as your video coordinator by giving you searchable clips, advanced statistics, shot charts, and a lot of other great info that you can access from any PC or through our iPad application. Just upload your video through the Crossover website, and 24 hours later, your film will be completely indexed and tagged. Each play will become its own video clip, allowing you to search the footage for anything you'd like. Here we'll take a look at all 3-pointers that were made in the fourth quarter. All of your offense.
And we're back here. Jonathan Hemingway on the mic, joined here by Brandon Clay. We're glad that you're joining us here from Sewanee, Georgia, here at the Jared Cook Classic. 36-25, 3:08 left here in the third quarter. Brandon, you've talked about the new look of Buford High School, the team that Coach Whitehart is coaching this year. Well, what about Walton High School? They lost one of their big seniors last year in Elijah Weems. This is kind of a new look for Walton as well.
No question. I thought Weems was one of the better scorers, and I know that you had the opportunity to write on him. One of the better scorers in the state at the guard spot. He actually is at Future College Prep there in California. Had a chance to talk with the Walton staff before the game, and a lot of the schools that were recruiting him, before going out to prep school now are still taking that interest. He's gotten off to a good start out there. Actually was doing a little research on his play, averaging over 20 a game, just doing some really good things out there in California, and as a result, seeing even more interest than he had before he decided to take the post-grad year.
I really thought the Weems stock really began to take off, and another big jumper right there by the freshman McKee. Hits the teardrop, and now the 3-point bucket, and he's going to come up with the steal. But talking about guard play, and boy, he's trying to elude those Buford defenders, and he's going to draw the foul. But talking about every year being a new season and taking on a new look, this is going to give these Walton guards the ability to kind of grow into that. But from a coaching standpoint, Coach Joe Godish has really got to like building on that momentum from last year, and a guy like number 21 Nicholas Wells, is going to be kind of that foundation piece, at least for Walton this year.
No question. When we talked about Wells going to Air Force there in the first half, and kind of like Wells going to Air Force, Weems is a guy that is a Division I prospect. And so, Walton has had a bevy of, college scholarship guys. Even a guy like McGrath that you see him make that nice turnaround is a guy that, we would project as a college prospect there, both with BrandonClayScouting.com and OTRHoopsReport.com as well. Hansborough with another bucket, and that's another guy that we'd project as a college prospect.
Without a doubt. Nice jumper right there. Going to bring the score to 41-28. Wells there going to pick up the loose ball after McGrath was unable to complete that transition play. 1:24 left here in the corner, and Will's going to go to the free throw line shooting 2 shots.
I tell you what, did you see that change of direction from young McKee, though, and the nice pass ahead? I mean, his skill set, obviously the size and the physicality are some things that he'll have to battle through this year, maybe even next year as he continues to grow physically. But the skill set, it's very easy to see why Coach Goydes has him on the varsity already at such an early age based on his play here today.
Brandon, one of the things that I always say when you see a young kid like that, he's not on the court by accident. He just didn't sneak onto the bus. He's obviously had to prove himself, many times in practice to be able to get this playing time here. 42-28, coming up on a minute left here in the third quarter. Ball screen, top of the key. Pull-up jumper not there. Wells is going to control.
Well, that's an interesting adjustment there from Whitehart at Buford. Seeing Walton sit in that 2-3, they've had Hansborough flash into the free throw line. It worked a couple of times. Walton made the adjustment, started really picking him up there at the line. Now Buford makes the good adjustment to put him on the basketball at the top of the key, let Gibson set the screen and try to get him an easy look that way, almost like it's something straight from CoachHemmy.com.
You can find some of those types of actions and plays at CoachHemme.com. That's a website that myself and Coach Aaron Shuck, a North Gwinnett graduate himself, have worked hard to put together. We're going to get a timeout here. 42 seconds left in the third quarter. 42-28. Walton still on top. And going into this timeout right here, Brandon, what do you think Coach Whitehart's talking about for these last 40 seconds?
I think he's just trying to remind his team and telling them, hey, we're ready. There's a reason why we've been to make it multiple times. I know we got some different pieces, some different guys, but don't let the lights, the camera, and the action fool you into not thinking that we're supposed to be here right now. You've got to find a way to get this game into single digits, even in the early part of the fourth quarter. By the time you get to the 6-minute mark in the fourth quarter, John, you want this game sitting between 6 and 8 to give you 2 stops and 2 buckets from a Hansborough and put you right back there within striking distance to get it done.
Sideline out of bounds here. Walton going to inbounds here. Richardson going to get it inside. The direct post feed to McGrath. Shot block. Buford going to control here. Coming up on 30 seconds. Pitch ahead in transition. Into the lane, and the runner is going to go. That's number 5, Taylor Mills. Nice little floater in the lane. 42-30, Walton on top.
Well, those are the type of shots that they're going to need Mills to be able to hit here going down the stretch. And I thought a great play on the defensive end from Galloway to be able to contest without fouling, make the shot hard for McGrath, as we do get a foul call here on Buford in the backcourt. Iverson with the foul call against McKee there, trying to keep him in front. But I thought it was a great play defensively and also a great play on the other end for them to get the score.
13 seconds left here in this quarter. A referee here just kind of holding the ball, telling these guys with some nonverbal communication, basically, hey, just relax here, guys. Sideline out of bounds. Richardson going to inbound it here.
Sometimes the best way to get their attention. Look at Gibson. Oh, throws it away, but the hustle, though, to be able to make that play.
Walton will control. Here's the drive down the lane. That's McKee. And Richardson had the tip-in opportunity, couldn't get it to go. And that's going to be the end of the third quarter for us. Going to head into the fourth quarter here with Walton on top, 42-30. With that, we'll take a break. We'll be back on the SUVtv. And we're back here for fourth quarter action here at North Gwinnett High School for the Jared Cook Classic and a matchup featuring Buford High School versus Walton High School. Fourth quarter action, three-pointer on the way by Buford. That's number 5, Taylor Mills. Going to cut this lead now to single digits, 42-33. Brandon, talk to us now about this fourth quarter. What does Buford have to do in order to make this a game going into the last 4 minutes?
Well, we talked 6 to 8, sitting at the 6-minute mark. We talked about it being 6 to 8. They're right there in striking distance, game sitting at 9. That's a big shot there from Mills. If Mills can provide that second scoring option for them right now while Hansborough is getting a blow, heaven forbid they can get it to 6 to 8 with him on the bench with 3 fouls right now. Just took a look actually at the scorebook. He's sitting right on top of 20 for the night. So it's been a great night for Hansborough, but they're going to need some help. They're not going to be able to win this basketball game with him scoring 35. This is not going to be what it is. They're going to have a second guy like a Mills to be able to score. And I think on Walton's end, patience. Once again, doing what you do well, feeding McGrath, feeding Richardson, feeding Wells, right on cue. Richardson with the jumper. He has emerged as that second option. McGrath is the third, so they're showing you the depth that you need to win close basketball games like this, John.
Without a doubt, Brandon, you've got to think from a high school coach perspective. You know, you want 3 guys that can give you double digits each night. And right on cue there, that is Brandon Iverson, the 5'11 junior, knocking down another 3-pointer. Loose ball here in the backcourt. And Walton going to turn it over and then pick up the quick foul. 44-36 here now, an 8-point game after Walton picked up that jumper on their first possession. Now Buford's going to get it back heading into this early fourth quarter action.
Well, I like the energy that Iverson's brought to the floor here. You know, since his insertion in the game, you actually saw the referee at the end of the third have to kind of get him separated from somebody. But sometimes you need that spark plug, especially on a night when Hansborough is having to sit right now with some foul trouble. There's Gibson. We talk about a spark plug now, and here it is. The game's sitting at 6 right here at about the 6-minute mark. So if you're Allen Whiteheart, this is exactly where you want to play it. Your first game of the year, you knew it was going to take your other guys a minute to get rolling. You got Hansborough established, and now some of the other guys are finding their way. So in a lot of ways, Hansborough being off the floor with the foul trouble might end up being a gift in and of itself here late in the game, allowing some other guys to get a feel for the offensive end of the floor.
Good defensive energy here by
great
Buford.
move. Great block. We talked about Galloway serving as a rim protector. I referenced his game, John, to EBA All-American Anthony Haskins from Central Gwinnett early in the first half. I think his bounciness, his willingness to challenge shots like that and do some of those little things make him a guy that we want to keep an eye on over the next couple of years.
And right on cue, he gets that deflection, which sets up the fast break opportunity, and the left-handed finish there by Taylor Mills. Mills coming out here with a big early fourth quarter performance, the 3-pointer, and now the transition lay-in, and all of a sudden the Buford Wolves have cut this lead down to 4 points, 44-40, and a timeout here called by Walton.
Well, once again, you like the energy, John, and you know, maybe it's Iverson, maybe it's Mills, Galloway there with the rim contest, the block, then the nice deflection, you know, half man, half the 9, like we used to talk about here at North Gwinnett, getting his hand in the passing lane. So a lot of different people contributing, which sets the deck now. And the longer that these guys play like this, the longer you can afford to keep Hansborough off the bench and away from that fourth foul.
Great point, Brandon. And I would like to add, I really like, we talked about the energy, but the guard play from Buford. You know, if they do have an advantage, you know, in this matchup, it could be the athleticism in the backcourt, certainly not taking anything away from Walton's guards, but Buford has the ability to kind of get up there and as we would say, heat them up a little bit, and I think that's really been the difference here early on, taking this lead from once a 12 to 13 point lead, now bringing it down to four points here with under 6 minutes to go in this ball game.
Well, it'll be interesting to see here as you watch Cologne, who did such a good job early in the game of handling Buford's pressure as the primary point guard, and then Bivens is back in as well. He started the game off for them. So you've got your 2 starting guards back in the game along with Richardson on the wing. So you're back into your normal rotation here, just under 6 minutes. And McGrath has hit that shot all night.
Good little cross screen action, gets the second cut. The pop up there to the free throw line area. McGrath really showing his versatility, being able to score with his back to the basket, as well as being able to hit the face-up jumper. Walton sticking now with the 2-3 zone.
Well, and I would expect Hansborough back just under the 5-minute mark, John. So maybe one more offensive possession you have to play without him. And they hit another 3. Yeah. Their ability to score the basketball, they've finally been able to make those shots, and Mills has emerged as that second scorer, which has been just on time to give them an opportunity to get back in this game. It's a one-possession game, John.
That's 8 points by my count here in this fourth quarter by Mills, really showing a lot of confidence, doing a great job on the defensive end, too. Here's McGrath from the high post.
Rim changer Galloway, shot blocker, rim protector, rim changer. Was looking at a great stat, actually from our good friends at Grantland, about the Cleveland Cavaliers and their inability to protect the rim. So even at the highest levels, you need people like Galloway on the inside who can protect the rim from easy shot opportunities such as that one for Walton.
Loose ball here. It's going to be a jump ball. And the ball's going to stay here with Walton. Substitutions coming in. Checking in for Buford is Trey Hansborough, as well as number 2 for Walton. That's Jason McKee. Also checking in number 4. That's Devin Neal, the 6-foot senior, also checking in here. 46-43. Walton on top, 4:32 left in the game.
Please believe there are multiple guys here at this one as Neil goes back and reports to the table, waiting for the referee. First game stuff there for Buford. But, guys like Galloway, McKee, all these younger guys, even a guy like McGrath, are going to be guys that get invitations to the Elite Basketball Academy Top 40 workout on March 8th, 2014. SUVtv will be in the building as always. They were there for the fall workout and the spring workout this year. And you're seeing why those kind of guys are getting the invite with their play here. Cologne as well.
Drive down the lane. Floater not going to go there by Juwan Cologne, number 3, but he is going to get fouled. Just a sophomore, 5'10", going to go to the line, shoot 2 here. The guard play from Walton has been very solid. They've done a good job of facilitating the action, moving without the basketball, understanding their roles. Not trying to do too much, but when the opportunities present themselves, as you see right there, attacking the lane or even dumping down to the post player when the feed is there.
Well, and there's a fearlessness there. He's seen Galloway erase multiple shots here and not care. Still take it right in there to the mix and try to get it done, man.
Walton switching it up now, going man-to-man.
Oh, tough bump. It was funny. He waited for a second as if, please don't call that foul on me. Didn't hear the whistle and went ahead and pulled the step-back 3. Hansborough has been flat awesome today. What a great performance for the senior.
Unfortunate adjustment right there by Coach Goydish as Buford is heated up, and normally you get out of that 2-3 zone and go man-to-man to take away the three-point shooting. And just as a stroke of luck right there, Hansborough was able to free himself up. And going in under the 4-minute mark now, it's 48-46, but a foul called here on Buford. Going to send Wells to the free throw line, and it's going to be a 1-and-1, I believe. And he's going to make the first.
What's funny, and it lets you know just how good Walton's been throughout the course of the game, that Wells, who started the game for them so hot, hasn't been cold. He just hasn't gotten a ton of touches, but he's been out there. He's been productive in some other areas, and it's shown and spoken a lot to the depth that Walton possesses offensively to have your key scorer go through long stretches without scoring the basketball, and you still be holding a 3-point lead here with just under 4 minutes remaining.
Coach Whitehart a little frustrated with that possession right there as Neal misses the lay-in. 3:43 to go. Full court pressure now being applied by the Wolves. Walton going to bring it up, controls it, now going to get into the half-court set. This is number 3. Cologne with the ball out top, initiates the offense. Ball comes back to him. Back to Wells on the wing. Looks like a little 2-1-2 half-court offense here. It looks like Coach Goydish right there trying to spread Buford out, realizing and understanding that Buford's going to be, pressuring the passing lanes, perhaps even trapping it. That's a common offensive set, I think, that coaches go to in that type of scenario, because you always got an outlet guy right there at the top of the key, and of course it opens up those nice diagonal passes when the traps do come.
Well, the key to those are, having the ball handling, having the guards, and Walton has shown that they do. To be able to make those plays. It's a big shot there from the freshman. No worries. Line to the bonus, steps up, knocks it down.
50-46, Walton on top, 4-point lead. 3:19 left here in regulation. McKee hits the second. And now Buford going to bring it across. Walton switching to the man-to-man defense, as you see right here. And this is Hansborough going down the lane. Nice drop off and a big finish. And the foul. Number 34, Kyron Galloway, the 6'8" junior. And Brandon, you've been impressed with Galloway's play on the defensive end. Now talk about his offensive game.
Well, he made a play in the first half, just a tough catch, drop step, and it was all one motion. It was fluid. But for him to come back, be able to catch that, gather, finish the way he did and then make the free throw at the end. I don't want to leave that part out because I think that's something that a lot of young post players struggle to do, especially after a made basket like that, is complete the and one. So for him to be able to complete the and one there, not to mention what he does on the defensive end, makes him a guy immediately, like we talked about, not only who will receive an invite to the EBA Top 40 workout, but a guy who's going to be on college coach radars over the next 12 months.
Nice inside-out kick out there. Richardson can't get the jumper to go. Buford's going to control, pushing ahead in transition, letting it fly from the corner. Not there. Tipped out. Walton going to control. Coming the other direction. 2-on-1. The layup, no good. That's McKee, the freshman, going to come away with it and then has a presence of mind to control and to reset the offense. This kid has really been impressive just with his overall understanding of the game, not trying to do too much, as we often say. Ball deflected here. It's going to be off Buford. Walton going to control, but to finish that thought about McKee, oftentimes young guards, when they're pressured, when they're heated up, a lot of times they'll try to get into the lane and try to get into the spots where, quite honestly, they can't make a play. McKee, on the other hand, uses that space dribble, as we talk about a lot of times, to make that reversal pass.
That's a great assessment there of exactly what's going on the floor with his game right now. You're going to see him in a one-on-one situation. It's just hard to take it from him.
Yeah.
You know, he's got the low center of gravity. He's got the great handle in terms of the skill set. You know, it's shown that he can go. You see the nice pivot there,
right.
The reverse pivot. I mean, everything you would want from a point guard skill-wise in this situation, McKee possesses, but it's exactly why he's on the floor in the first place.
Under 2 minutes to go, 1:40 left, and Buford's going to have to foul now. It's just a 2-point game, 51-49. Walton's still on top, but this is going to send Wells to the line, and now we're in the double bonus, so he's going to shoot 2.
You know me, I'm a huge proponent of stretching the game out. I just don't feel like, right on cue, the miss there on the first one, I don't feel like teams shoot well enough from the free throw line that it makes sense to allow them to kill the clock. Let's stretch the game out. Let's make them go to the free throw line. If they're able to go 11 for 12, John, 12 for 12 down the stretch, and they beat us in that way, great. Kudos to them. Y'all did a heck of a job. Hopefully we'll see you again down the road. But more times than not, it's going to be 7 for 12. It's going to be 8 for 12. You're going to get 2 possessions back, especially if you substitute the correct way offense to defense, and you don't lose a star in the process. You're able to get them back in on the foul.
Hansborough's going to draw the foul, but Walton's not in the bonus, or I should say Buford's not in the bonus, so they're going to get it baseline out of bounds. And Hansborough finds himself underneath the rim.
Goaltend, the ball was still above the rim there on McGrath. That's a great call from the veteran referee there, Elton Gray. It's a great call. Ball sitting on the rim, clears it off.
No way that was on the rim.
Obviously, the Walton coach is going to disagree. That's a great call on his part. Good call there from the officials. Ball sitting on the rim, swipes it off. 2 points for Buford, man.
McGrath swatted that thing away. And I'm sure Coach Goydes is saying, now, come on now. McGrath can't get that high off the ground, right? But it was a bang-bang play there. And, of course, you know, no instant replay here at the Jared Cook Classic. So the points will count. But 52-51, and you gotta take your hat off to Buford and their willingness to compete and not lay down. There was a time there in the third quarter where this thing was getting – it kind of got out of hand, and Walton could have just cruised right into the sunset and been back in Marietta. But Coach Whitehart and his staff stuck with it. Some big-time shots by Taylor Mills. And, of course, Hansborough has been big the entire game. And now look what we got here. We got 1:31 left in this game. 1-point game. Walton's going to have to make some plays in order to win this game.
No question. I thought Iverson's intensity, his energy was good. I thought that, you know, Galloway obviously protected the rim, changing the shots and doing some different things. It's just been a great game dynamic-wise. You know, Buford came out hot early. Walton made their push, their run. Buford now cut it, and then we're getting exactly what we thought we'd get when the matchups got put together for the Jared Cook Classic, which is a close game between two very competitive teams.
And right on cue, Buford going with their full-court man-to-man. Very interesting. They put the man on the ball, denying everything. Walton doesn't stretch it out with the baseball pass, and the ball deflected out of bounds. And so Buford going to control right here. Hansborough here going in the dribble drive offense, dumps it off to Galloway. Big-time play there, and Buford takes the lead, 53-52.
That's tough. Well, you know what I thought was nice about the defensive possession before we touch the offensive possession, John, was the substitution of Lamont Smith for Galloway. Smith, the freshman guard, came in specifically to help pressure the basketball. That's exactly what he did, and they were able to get Galloway right back in the game for the offensive possession, and he's the one that converts the basket. Great coaching there for Coach Whitehart.
Walton right here going to have to make a play, and McKee is going to get called for the 5-second call, and by the letter of the law, I think it's 6 feet if you don't break that 6 feet plane, and that's what the referee saw right there.
It's always so tough, regardless of the team that you have. I think when you get into a position where you're playing well in the last 3.5 minutes of the game, you take away the flow and the momentum of what you were doing. I thought the McGrath free throw line jumper was really the watershed moment there for Walton. And they kind of got away from attack mode and allowed Buford in the process to be able to get a chance to put themselves back in the game for good. And now it's a dogfight. Now you're going to have to try to get an offensive momentum back. It's tough. It's tough to go back to, especially kids at this age. All right, hey, we got to turn it back up again now, fellas. So I think a lot of times it's easier to keep your foot on the gas when you have that opportunity as a coach.
37 seconds left here. Hansborough fouled. He goes to the line. He misses, but Walton comes down with the rebound, and this is McGrath, and very quickly Coach Goydich is going to call the timeout, and he'll have his opportunity to make a play. But you're right, talking about that whole momentum swing right there, Buford really was able to shift the momentum, with their defense, and, really took control of the game in that way. But when it comes to, these early season games or games that, at any time of the year, you're going to have to be able to make plays, and whoever makes more plays, well, obviously is going to win. And it seems like such a, duh statement, but it's the truth. Buford has made those plays here in this fourth quarter, whether it's the three-point jumpers, whether it's Hansborough on the drive, whether it's been the block shots. This is why they're up one here with 33 seconds.
Well, you go back to, and unfortunately this is a negative for Buford, but you've got to be able to convert from the line the same way we talked about Wells. We got to talk about Hansborough there. You've got a 1-and-1, and I mentioned at the very beginning of the game what Ralph Nunn, the coach of North Gwinnett, used to say, that a missed 1-and-1 is equivalent to a turnover, and it should be counted as such.
Mm-hmm.
Those are just shots. You've got to find a way to get those to fall here this late. Once you've made the comeback and your team's put that in, you've got to find ways to convert your opportunities at the free throw line.
Very interesting here. Coach Whitehart going to keep the pressure up, going to pressure full court, even though they've got the lead. They do get the deflection, but can't get the turnover. Here's the freshman McKee with the basketball, bringing it over, under 30 seconds to go here in regulation. High ball screen by McGrath. McKee with the crossover, goes to the ground. He gets it to McGrath. McGrath attacks the basket underneath, but he's going to get called for the travel.
That's a good call. I tell you what, I like the decision there by Whitehart. It was token pressure. They weren't selling out there, but you definitely want to contain. You do not want to give Cologne and or McKee an opportunity to get into a half-court quick hitter set. You want to make life really hard for them and then play it from there. Hansborough is going to get a chance to go back to the free throw line right here.
Good point on that with the full court pressure. One of the things that oftentimes happens in those situations when you have to take it out in the full court, whatever you draw up, there is that possibility you can kind of run and jump them and get them out of rhythm. Hey, to Walton's credit, they did get the high ball screen, but couldn't convert. They did get McGrath on the drive. Unfortunately, too many steps. Now Buford has the basketball. 11 seconds left here with the lead.
Well, a lot of times you expend so much energy at your guard play just to get the ball across the half court. By the time you get the ball screen, you're not in a position to really be able to turn it. You've seen McKee fall down. I mean, Buford's pressure really has affected Walton, who did such a good job, I thought, in the first 28 minutes of the game of getting into the type of shots that obviously they wanted, whether it was a McGrath free throw line jumper. We haven't talked about Richardson in a while. He hadn't gotten an open 15-footer. Wells has been limited in his production offensively late in the game. So Buford really turned it with their pressure. They turned it into a guard's game, and I thought that started late in the third quarter and is extended into the fourth quarter. They really have forced McKee and or Cologne to have to be playmakers here.
Big big moment here. This should be a 1-on-1 shot right here. And it's off the mark.
Boy, that's two.
Yeah.
That's 2 turnovers there for Hansborough. Great timeout call, sitting right on top of it. Coach Gordis from Walton gets the timeout call. It's going to be 10.8 on the clock here, John.
Yeah, and one of the advantages, since Walton had played such a clean game up until the fourth quarter, they come into the last minute not being in the double bonus. Yep. You know, so those 1-and-1s are so much tougher, at least from a mental standpoint, than a 2-point standpoint. Again, Coach Goitis here is going to call the quick timeout, drawing something out. They control their destiny right here. You know, in that type of.
Give us something. You've got to bring the ball full court here. Give us something from the CoachHemme.com playbook that you'd like to see based on the options they have in the roster.
Well, one thing that I like to do is whoever I want making the play in the full court, I'd like to have them take the ball out, okay? Because once you inbound the basketball, then you cut them straight up the middle of the court, give it right back to them. Now you've got that quick momentum. Now, after that, you know, it depends upon personnel. Sure. One of the things that coaches like to do is that drag ball screen, you know, in transition where you get the big man right in the middle of the court and let that point guard get going downhill. But everybody's got their own playbook. It'll be interesting to see what they get going here. A little bit different formation this time. They're going to take the big man, bring him back to half court. So they could be running some stuff out.
Interesting to note, both teams still have 1 timeout remaining, so either way, Walton can dead the basketball if they don't like what they get.
No. One of the big problems right there was that they did not have the ability to run the baseline because it was not off of a made basket, and they're going to get called for the 5 seconds. And Coach Goitis here really taking issue with the counting call right there. So still another foul to give before the double bonus. They still got a shot at this. Even if they make both, they're still going to have a shot to tie it up or even win if there is a missed one.
Well, you see Hansborough going back to the line. This is a great opportunity now when you start to talk about figuring out where a prospect is, you know, more from an evaluation standpoint. What does a prospect look like? You know, as he makes the one that gets blown off there, kind of like the field goal kicker missing the field goal.
Okay.
This is going to be the 5th foul here on Wells. So
yeah.
Getting everything squared away. Still going to be a 1-on-1 situation here for Hansborough as they discuss what's going on here referee-wise. Make sure they get this right.
Well, I am not an officiating expert, although everybody in the gym.
Are we all?
Should be officiating experts. So, to my knowledge, I don't think that foul shot should count since you had a disqualified player on the floor. So, well, I think Coach Goitis is really more upset about the so-called practice shot. So, hey, I tell you, you know, these coaches that coach these young men, you gotta love them because they're competitors. You know, they're fiery. They're looking for every advantage.
Well, and they spend so much time in the gym. We talked about this coming down from halftime after talking with Zach Smith from North Gwinnett.
Yeah.
All the Saturday mornings, all of the workouts, not to mention all the film breakdown, even practice reviews,
the
rides home,
the June practices. Oh, my goodness. There's a reason why these guys care so much about it is because that they devote so much of their life to it. So, they live and die a lot of times with every possession. Makes the first here. Hansborough on the way. Second one is good. And Coach Goitis is going to take his final timeout now. 9.5 seconds left. Going to have to get a 3-point shot.
Yeah, no question. Always interesting, and it'll be great to see what he comes up with coming out of the timeout. You know, we talked about proponents and things that you like. And one of the things, honestly, you know, even on that made shot there, I like to get the ball and push that across the half line and get the timeout. If you can get it there, you know, you're still sitting on anywhere from 6.5 to 7.5, but you've brought the ball almost 50 feet. But it'll be interesting to see if they can convert this time after the failed conversion last time. So Walton has every tool here in the arsenal, but they're going to have to do it without Wells, which is tough because obviously that's a big receiver, so to speak, making that catch, man.
Yeah, and I think that's what they were trying to do earlier. Unfortunately, on the previous possession, it looked like Walton's players out there on the court were a little bit slow to react. They didn't get right into the offense as the ball was being inbounded. But interestingly enough, it's been Buford that has been making the three-point jumper here, at least in the second half. Walton hasn't made just a whole lot of three-point jumpers to begin with. So that's another challenge that's being put in front of him.
Interesting insertion there, Galloway. Let's see if he guards the basketball here on the inbound if they put him on the post. Yep, straight to the basketball. You had to figure they were going to use that length, and his timing has been good all game. See if he can get a deflection.
Gets it in right away this time. This is McKee with it. He's looking, and you know what? Not a bad foul. Probably not. Maybe they did want it, but it is going to be a two-shot foul.
Well, and if nothing else, they didn't let him get the three off in the process. It wasn't one of those Reggie Miller, Paul Pierce's where he got fouled and was able to fling the basketball and get 3 shots out of it.
Well, in this way, you're down 3. You're only going to get 2 shots. So, you know, and you really need that first one to go in. So now what's going to have to happen here, regardless of what happens here with this free throw, you got to get another quick foul and hope to stretch the game out again. And the ball deflects off of Walton, and it's going to be Buford basketball. 3.8 seconds left. Time running out on Walton here.
Still plenty of time for a scramble. Oh, wow, that took 2 seconds. It went from 3.8 to 1.9 there on the foul, John. You know, Hansborough caught the ball immediately and just tucked it like a running back, and Walton delayed about a second in making that foul. If he's able to knock down one of these two, and there's not a foul that's completely unforeseen to all of us, including Alan Whitehart, Buford should walk away with this one.
Hansborough going to go to the line. He will be shooting 2. The first one is on the way and no good. As good as he has been here today, he's had his struggles from the free throw line. I'm sure that's going to be something that he can take home with him as a point of improvement.
That's a big free throw, though, to know that, you know, you've struggled a little bit from the line, but still be able to step up and need one to close it out and hit it to ice it, man. You know, not happy about the 3 for 6 down there for the stretch all year if you're Hansborough, but you made 3 and you didn't go 0 for 6. You'll take the win and head right back up the road to Buford.
And that'll do it here for game number 1 at the Jared Cook Classic.
I think our player of the game, our PeachStateBasketball.com player of the game, goes to Trey Hansborough. Like I said, he's earned himself an invite to the EBA Top 40 workout in the spring with his play today.
Thank you, Brandon, and we thank all of you at home for tuning in with us at the SUVtv.com. Make sure that you check back with us here for game number 2 and game number 3, as well as all of the games that will be broadcasted live here at the Jared Cook Classic. I'm Jonathan Hemingway. He's Brandon Clay. Until next time, keep watching basketball.
Any gym is home.